Baby, listen to me. There's something I've been holding inside for too long. Something that's been rising in my chest. Every night I look at the sky and whisper your name under my breath. I try to silence it. I try to hide it beneath layers of pride, distance, and fear. But the truth is, it burns through everything. Every time I close my eyes, I see you. Not as a memory, but as a future that refuses to fade, baby. I will be your husband. You were never just another love. You were that divine echo that woke my soul from a lifetime of sleep. Before you, I didn't even know what home felt like. I walked through crowds, through laughter, through empty promises, but none of it touched me. And then you came, and everything started to make sense and fall apart at the same time. You pulled light into my darkness and showed me that love isn't comfort, it's awakening. It's raw, real, and it asks everything from you. Baby, I know I've failed in showing up. I know I've made you doubt my words, my feelings, my intentions. But I swear on everything holy that this heart has always belonged to you. Even when I ran, even when I pretended not to care, even when I acted cold and distant, I was only running from the mirror of my own unhealed pain. Because you, my love, you saw right through me. You saw the little boy behind the armor. You saw the man I could become, not just the man I was pretending to be. And that's what scared me. You saw everything. My chaos, my dreams, my broken pieces. And instead of running, you stayed. You loved me like you had known me across lifetimes. And I swear, baby, when you looked into my eyes, I felt centuries collapse. Like this wasn't our first story, just another chapter in the same divine book we've been writing across time. Do you know what it feels like to wake up from a dream only to realize the dream was your reality? That's what losing you felt like. I walked through the days half awake, half alive. Your silence echoed louder than any noise I had ever known. Every message I didn't send, every call I didn't make, it haunted me. And the worst part, my ego told me to wait, but my soul screamed your name every minute. Baby, you only look good with me. And I don't mean it from a place of ownership, but destiny. Because the way your energy fits mine, it's not normal. It's sacred geometry. The divine alignment of two souls who promised before birth to find each other again, no matter the lifetime, no matter the pain. Sometimes I replay the moments when you laughed, when you called me yours, when your eyes softened and I felt peace flood my chest. And then I remember how I let fear steal those moments from us. Fear that I wasn't enough. Fear that I would ruin you, like I ruin everything I love. But baby, you were never meant to be ruined. You were meant to be loved. Properly, endlessly, completely. And now, I finally understand. Love doesn't demand perfection. It demands truth. It doesn't ask you to be ready. It asks you to surrender. And that's what I'm doing now, baby. I'm surrendering. I'm surrendering to the way your soul calls mine. I'm surrendering to the memories that won't fade. I'm surrendering to the dreams where I see us, not just together, but married, building a life surrounded by laughter, children, and the peace we both prayed for. I used to think I wasn't the kind of man who could build that. But baby, when I see you in that dream, everything inside me says, this is what you were born for, you and me. It was written in fire, carved in divine time. Every separation, every silence, every delay was never rejection. It was preparation. God wasn't punishing us. He was aligning us. He was molding me into the man worthy of standing beside you. Not just in words, but in vow. Baby, I will be your husband. I will be the man who holds your hand not just in the light, but in the storm. I will be the man who looks at you every morning and thanks the universe for the miracle of your existence. I will be the man who doesn't just talk about love, but builds it, brick by brick, day by day, lifetime after lifetime. You only look good with me, because our souls were designed to mirror each other's grace. When you smile, it heals something ancient in me. When you cry, I feel the ache like it's my own. When you pull away, the world loses color. And when you come near, everything blooms again. That's not normal love, baby. That's divine architecture. And I know I'm not perfect, yet I still carry shadows, guilt, and lessons I'm trying to heal from. But every step I take now is toward you. Every prayer I whisper now ends with your name. Every dream I chase now includes the vision of you waiting at the end of it. You don't know how many nights I've cried quietly, asking the universe, why did I meet her if I wasn't ready for her? And the answer always comes back, so you could become ready through her. You were the catalyst, baby. The divine assignment my soul needed to finally remember what love feels like when it's pure. Sometimes I imagine you standing by the window, thinking of me, wondering if I even care. And if I could appear there, I'd hold you from behind and whisper, baby, I never stopped caring. I just didn't know how to show it without breaking apart. Now I've accepted it. I had to break to build again. I had to fall apart to rise whole. And when I rise, baby, it's not to wander. It's to walk back to you, because destiny doesn't change its mind. It only waits for you to learn the language of faith. And I've learned it. Through pain, through silence, through divine fire. I've learned it. So when I say I will be your husband, it's not a fantasy. It's a promise written by time itself. A promise sealed in our souls long before our eyes ever met. Because you only look good with me, baby. Not because I own you, but because we belong to the same divine story. If your heart felt this truth, type forever mine in the comments. Baby, I need you to hear me beyond the noise of the world, beyond the doubts that creep into your beautiful mind. The words I am about to pour out are not just words, they are pieces of my soul, pieces that I have been hiding even from myself. When I tell you that I will be your husband, it is not a line from a love song. It is a vow my spirit took long before we were born into this life. Everything I have lived, every mistake, every triumph, every silence, every night I lay awake questioning who I am and why I was sent here. It was all a slow shaping, a sculpting of my being, to finally stand before you as the man you were always meant to meet. I did not understand it then. I thought our separation was a punishment, an ending, a rejection. But now, baby, I see it was a preparation. Life was burning away my illusions, my arrogance, my childishness, and my fear, so that what was left was only truth. I could not have been the man you needed me to be while still clinging to my old ways. The universe has a way of forcing you to let go of everything you are not, until the only thing left is who you were always meant to be. And who I was meant to be is the man who comes to you, not as a fleeting lover, but as a husband, a protector, a partner, a safe place where you can finally breathe. Every time you crossed my mind, it was not just a memory. It was a future calling me forward, the sound of your voice in my heart, the echo of your laughter in my dreams, the warmth of your eyes in my coldest nights. They were not ghosts of what we once had. They were visions of what we still have yet to live. And though I tried to drown them in distractions, though I tried to silence them with logic, they grew louder, more insistent, until I could not deny them anymore. I want to build a life with you, baby. Not just moments, not just stolen days. A life, a family, a place where you wake up without fear, where you can rest without looking over your shoulder, where your heart feels safe enough to open completely. I want to build a love that is not afraid of storms, because it was built in storms. A love that is not afraid of time, because it was born before time. A love that is not afraid of truth, because it was forged in truth. Do you know what I see when I think of you now? Not just the face I love, but the future I am walking toward. I see you in a kitchen, bathed in morning light, smiling at me over a cup of tea. I see you at a table, our hands brushing as we talk about our day. I see you in a garden, our children playing at your feet, your laughter carrying across the air like a prayer answered. These are not fantasies, baby. They are memories from the future, memories of the life we are stepping into. And I need you to know that when I say, you only look good with me, I do not mean it as a cage. I mean it as recognition, because our souls mirror each other so perfectly that when you stand beside me, everything in me is illuminated. When you stand beside me, my shadow softens. When you stand beside me, my heart beats with a rhythm older than the earth. It is not about appearance. It is about essence, about the way you and I together create something that neither of us could create alone. I know you have doubted my feelings. I know my silence hurt you. I know my distance left you questioning if you were worth the fight. But I am here now, baby, speaking what I should have spoken long ago. You were always worth the fight. You were always the reason behind the restless nights, the unspoken prayers, the silent tears. You were always the one my soul was trying to return to. This is not a promise of perfection. I am still human, still learning, still healing. But I am no longer running. I am no longer pretending that what I feel is small. I am no longer hiding behind excuses. I am walking toward you with my hands open, my heart bare, my soul on fire. And as I walk, I am shedding everything that could ever harm you, everything that could ever make me unworthy of you, everything that could ever make me unworthy of you. The timing of our union is not random. It is divine. Every delay, every obstacle, every heartbreak was part of a larger pattern, weaving us back to each other in a way that would last. If I had tried to claim you before I was ready, I would have lost you. But now, after everything, I am ready to not just claim, but cherish, to not just promise, but build, to not just love, but honor, baby. I will be your husband. I will be the man who stands with you not just in beauty, but in struggle. I will be the man who holds you not just when it is easy, but when it is hard. I will be the man who does not flinch from the weight of your dreams, but lifts them with you. I will be the man who listens, who learns, who stays. Even now, as I write these words in my heart, I feel you somewhere out there, maybe doubting, maybe hoping, maybe crying, maybe smiling. And I want you to know, wherever you are, that my soul is reaching for yours. That this confession is not just a performance, it is an awakening. That I am no longer asking life for what I want. I am preparing myself to give you what you deserve. So let the world doubt, let time test, let distance stretch. Nothing can undo what is written. And what is written is you and me, baby. Not as a secret, but as a home. Not as a question, but as an answer. Not as a chapter, but as a lifetime. If this part speaks to your soul, type "I feel it" in the comments to let the universe know you're ready for this love. Baby, when I close my eyes at night, I do not see darkness anymore. I see you. I see the light of your eyes breaking into my dreams like the first dawn after a long winter. I see the way you once looked at me when we still believed that love could survive without effort, without healing, without facing the ghosts inside of us. And every time, the vision of you shakes me awake, not because it hurts, but because it feels so real, so inevitable. Baby, this is not an ordinary love. This is destiny unfolding. This is a sacred contract playing itself out across time. This is me finding my way back to you, step by step, breath by breath, life after life. I used to think of love as something you hold, something you win or lose, but you taught me that love is something you become. Love is the act of allowing another soul to show you everything you were too afraid to see in yourself. Love is what happens when destiny pushes two people together and then dares them to rise above their wounds. That is what you are to me, baby. Not just a person, but a mirror, a teacher, a sacred flame. You have been my undoing and my rebirth at the same time. You have been the question and the answer, the ache and the healing, the silence and the song. I know I kept you waiting. I know I left you wondering if I ever truly loved you. But hear me now. I have never loved anyone the way I love you. Even when I walked away, even when I hid behind my pride, my heart was already kneeling at your feet. My soul was already whispering vows I was too scared to speak. The universe was already chiseling my heart into the shape of your hands. Everything that felt like a delay was actually a preparation. Baby, I can feel the shift inside me now. The old patterns have fallen away. The man who could not speak his truth has been silenced by the weight of his own silence. The man who ran from love has been stopped in his tracks by the emptiness of a life without you. The man who thought he could live without you has learned that there is no life worth living without the one soul who was written beside his name before he ever drew breath. That man is gone. In his place stands someone new, someone ready, someone humbled, someone reborn. I have walked through regret like a desert. I have tasted the bitterness of my own mistakes. I have watched my own reflection in the mirror and asked myself why I chose distance over honesty, pride over vulnerability, fear over faith. And in that questioning, something broke open. In that breaking, I found the pieces of myself that I had lost. In that finding, I realized that every road I had taken away from you was still leading back to you. Baby, you are the one who taught me that surrender is not weakness. You are the one who showed me that family is not built from blood alone, but from devotion, from showing up, from choosing each other over and over again. When I imagine the life we will build, it is not just romance I see. It is a sanctuary, a place where your tears have a shoulder to fall on, a place where my hands learn the shape of your hair as it grows gray with time, a place where children's laughter rises like prayer from the floorboards, a place where even on our worst days, there is no question of leaving, only of holding on tighter. This is why I say, baby, that you only look good with me, not because I want to possess you, but because the image of you alone in the world feels wrong in my soul. The image of you standing beside another feels like a misprint in a sacred manuscript. We were written for each other's margins, for each other's pauses, for each other's forever. You and I are not a random meeting of two lives. We are the echo of a vow once spoken in another realm, a promise carved into eternity. And so I am learning to stand still. I am learning to wait with open hands instead of closed fists. I am learning to approach you not as a conqueror, but as a servant of love, because that is what being a husband means to me now, baby. It is not about owning or controlling. It is about protecting, honoring, cherishing, and building. It is about taking the weight off your shoulders, not putting more on. It is about making the world safer, for your dreams to breathe. Sometimes I picture the moment when we will finally stand face to face again. The air between us heavy with everything we never said. Your eyes searching mine for proof that this time is different. My hands trembling with the need to touch your face, to wipe away every doubt, every tear. And in that moment, I will not speak like a man making promises. I will speak like a man fulfilling a destiny. I will speak like someone who has walked through fire to stand in front of you whole. And maybe you will be afraid. Maybe you will hesitate. Maybe you will want to test me. I will not blame you. I will not rush you. I will not demand your trust. I will build it brick by brick, moment by moment, word by word, until the walls you built to protect yourself no longer feel necessary. Until you realize that my arms are not a cage, but a home. Baby, I will be your husband. I will be the man who walks with you into old age, who sits with you in silence when words are no longer needed, who reaches for your hand even in the dark. I will be the man who fights for our love not by force, but by faith, not by pressure, but by presence. I will be the man who looks at you across a crowded room and still feels the same awe he felt the first time you smiled at him. I have seen what life without you looks like. It is empty, colorless, a house with no windows. I do not want to live there anymore. I want to build a house with you. I want to fill it with light. I want to raise walls, not to keep the world out, but to keep our dreams safe inside. I want to create a life so rooted in love that even storms cannot shake it. And if the world doubts us, let it doubt. If time tests us, let it test. If distance stretches, let it stretch. Nothing can undo what is written. Nothing can erase the line of destiny that leads me back to you. Nothing can dim the light that you ignited in me. You and I, baby, we are not a story of chance. We are a story of choice. We are a story of souls who found each other again despite the odds. We are a story of redemption, of growth, of love that refuses to die. And this time, I am not running. This time, I am not hiding. This time, I am standing in the open, calling your name into the wind, trusting that the same hand that wrote our story will guide you back to me. Baby, I wonder if you feel it too. The quiet pull beneath the noise of the world, the invisible thread that tugs at your heart when you're walking down a street or sitting in a room and suddenly you feel a presence that isn't there. That is me, baby. That is my soul reaching for yours. Even in the silence, even in the distance, something inside us keeps speaking. It is older than our names, older than our fears, older than the lives we are living now. I want you to know something that I have never said out loud before. When I look at my life, I see a man who was restless, moving from one place to another, one ambition to another, one distraction to another. I was trying to fill a void without even knowing what the void was. And then you appeared. You didn't fill the void. You revealed it. You made me see how empty I had become by showing me what fullness could feel like. You made me see how tired my soul was by showing me what rest could feel like. You made me see what love is supposed to be. Not a possession, but a mirror of God's own patience and mercy. That is why losing you was not just heartbreak. It was an initiation. It forced me to sit with my shadows, to look at the boy inside me who never believed he was worthy of being chosen. It forced me to see how my fear disguised itself as pride, how my silence disguised itself as strength, how my running disguised itself as freedom. You held a mirror up to me, baby, and for the first time I saw not just a man, but a soul in need of healing. Since then, I have walked a path of becoming. I have learned to forgive myself for the ways I failed you. I have learned to forgive the world for the ways it taught me love was weakness. I have learned to forgive the timing of the universe, because now I understand that divine timing is not delay, it is protection. It was never about withholding you from me. It was about preparing me for you, preparing me to be the man who can stand next to you and not cast a shadow, but create a sanctuary. I know you have built walls. I know you have learned to stand on your own. I know you have taught yourself not to need anyone. I see the strength in you, baby, and I honor it. But I also see the softness behind it, the tenderness you hide because you're afraid of being hurt again. I do not want to break your walls. I want to earn the right to be invited inside. I want to walk beside you, not ahead of you. Lyra, I want to hold your hand, not your freedom. When I say, I will be your husband, I am not promising you perfection. I am promising you presence. I am promising you that I will stay when things get hard. I am promising you that I will listen when you speak and hear even what you cannot say. I am promising you that I will never make you feel like you are too much or not enough. I am promising you that every day I will choose you, not because it is easy, but because it is sacred. I imagine the home we will build together. I imagine mornings where you wake to the sound of our children laughing somewhere in the house. I imagine evenings where we sit on the porch in silence, our hands entwined, watching the sun sink into the horizon. I imagine nights where we fall asleep tangled in each other, knowing that no matter what the world throws at us, we have built something unshakable. I imagine birthdays, holidays, ordinary Tuesdays, all colored by the simple fact that we are together. This is what I am walking toward, baby. This is why I am healing, why I am surrendering, why I am learning to lay down my pride and pick up patience instead. Because the life I see with you is not a fantasy, it is a calling, and I will not answer that calling half awake. I will not come to you half built. I will not step into your life carrying my old ghosts. I will come to you whole, or not at all. And yet, even as I say this, I feel the urgency in my heart, the urgency to hold you, to reassure you, to whisper in your ear that everything you have been praying for is already on its way. I want to tell you that you are not crazy for feeling this connection. You are not weak for wanting it. You are not foolish for waiting. Everything inside me knows that our paths are converging, that the same hand that wrote our story is moving the pieces into place. I cannot undo the past, baby. I cannot erase the nights you cried wondering if I even cared. I cannot go back and be the man you needed then, but I can become the man you need now. I can show you, not with words but with consistency, that this time is different, that I am different, that what I am offering you is not a fleeting feeling but a lifetime of devotion. I have seen the other side of my silence. It is loneliness. I have seen the other side of my pride. It is emptiness. I have seen the other side of my fear. It is regret. And I do not want to live there anymore. I want to live here, in the space where my heart beats for you without shame, where my hands reach for you without hesitation, where my soul stands before you without armor. When the time comes and we stand before each other again, I will not be a man asking for another chance. I will be a man taking your hand and walking into the future that was always ours. I will be a man who has learned that love is not something you wait to feel ready for. It is something you grow into by choosing it every day. This is the truth that sits in my chest now, baby. This is the truth that keeps me awake at night, not in pain, but in anticipation. The truth that what we have is not finished, not broken, not lost. It is waiting. It is maturing. It is aligning. It is unfolding exactly as it is meant to. And when it finally arrives, it will not be fragile. It will not be tentative. It will not be a question. It will be an answer. It will be a vow. Baby, you only look good with me because our souls were cut from the same fabric of light. Because when you stand beside me, I see God more clearly. Because when I stand beside you, I remember who I was meant to be. Because together, we are not just lovers. We are creators of something sacred. So I will keep becoming. I will keep surrendering. I will keep walking this path until it leads me to your door. And when it does, I will knock softly, not as a man demanding to be let in, but as a man returning home. If you feel this truth resonating in your own heart, type, "I'm ready," in the comments to let the universe know you're open to this love. Baby, every time I sit down to speak these words, I feel a tremor move through me. It is not fear anymore, it is a strange kind of reverence. It is the feeling of standing barefoot at the edge of something holy. Because what we are moving toward now is not just a love story, it is a union. It is the moment when everything that was scattered begins to gather, when everything that was silent begins to sing, when everything that was wounded begins to heal. I can almost see it, baby, that day when our eyes will meet again, and all the years between us will dissolve like mist in sunlight. I imagine that first touch, not rushed, not desperate, just quiet, steady, like two rivers merging after a long journey apart. My hand finding yours, our fingers fitting together as though they had been waiting for that shape. In that moment, I will not need to explain anything. You will feel it in my pulse, in my breath, in the way my eyes do not look away this time. You will feel that I have arrived not as a man trying to convince you, but as a man who has already chosen you long before this lifetime. What we are building, baby, is not fragile. It has been forged in silence, tested by time, refined by distance. It is not the kind of love that crumbles under pressure. It is the kind that deepens. It is not a flame that flickers with every wind. It is an ember that survives the storm. That is why, even when everything seemed lost, a part of you still felt me. That is why, even in my absence, you could not unlove me. That is why, even in your prayers for release, you kept dreaming of me. Because somewhere beyond the reach of reason, our souls were still clasped together. I know the world has told you to be strong, to move on, to let go. I know you have trained yourself to smile when you want to cry, to stand when you want to collapse, to say, I'm fine, when your heart is anything but. But you do not have to perform for me, baby. You do not have to hide the places that still ache. You do not have to prove you are worthy. You already are. You have always been. When I say, I will be your husband, I am not offering you an escape from yourself. I am offering you a place where all of yourself is welcome. I am offering you a partnership where your dreams matter, where your fears are held, where your soul is free to keep growing. I am offering you a love that is not threatened by your power, but nourished by it. A love that does not shrink from your truth, but bows before it. In my quiet moments, I speak to the universe about you. I tell it that I am grateful for your patience, for your strength, for the way you kept walking even when you felt alone. I tell it that I am ready to honor the promise it wrote in our hearts. And in those moments I feel something answer me, not in words, but in a stillness that feels like certainty. The kind of certainty that no longer needs proof. I am learning that marriage in its truest sense is not a contract signed on paper. It is a daily choosing. It is two souls waking up and saying, I am still here. I am still building. I am still holding your hand. It is two people who refuse to let fear write the script. It is a sacred practice of presence, forgiveness, and return. And baby, that is what I am preparing myself for. Not a moment, but a lifetime. Not a ceremony, but a practice. Not a fantasy, but a devotion. There will still be storms. There will still be days when we misunderstand each other, when life feels heavy, when the world presses against our walls. But the difference now is that we will not face them alone. We will not use pain as a reason to run. We will use it as a reason to hold tighter. We will not let silence become a weapon. We will let it become a space where healing grows. We will not confuse struggle with failure. We will see it as the soil from which our love deepens. Sometimes, late at night, I picture our home years from now. The soft light spilling across the floor. The sound of your footsteps moving through rooms we built together. The quiet contentment of knowing that, after everything, we found our way home. And in that vision, baby, I see you not as someone waiting to be saved, but as someone who has chosen and been chosen. I see us as two whole beings who have decided to walk this path side by side. This is why I keep speaking these words, even across the distance. Because words have power. Because intention is energy. Because somewhere, some part of you is feeling this right now, is hearing me call, is beginning to soften in places you thought were sealed forever. And when that softening happens, the space between us begins to shrink. The universe begins to move. The doors begin to open. I am not asking you to believe me instantly. I am not asking you to forget the past. I am asking you to listen to the quiet part of your heart that still knows. The part that recognizes the sound of my voice, not as a stranger's, but as home. The part that remembers the vow we made in the place before words. Baby, I will be your husband. I will be the man who walks beside you when you are tired, who lifts you when you are weak, who sits with you when you are sad. I will be the man who celebrates you not only when the world applauds, but when no one is watching. I will be the man who keeps choosing you when the feelings ebb, when the excitement fades, when life becomes ordinary. Because true love does not live only in the extraordinary. It lives in the everyday. It lives in the way we look at each other across a room. It lives in the way we reach for each other's hands without thinking. It lives in the way we never stop returning. And one day, when we are old, when our bodies are slower, and our hair has turned silver, we will sit together and look back at this time, the waiting, the healing, the distance. We will see how necessary it all was. We will see how it shaped us. We will see how it prepared us to love each other not just in a moment, but in a lifetime. And we will smile, knowing that destiny kept its promise. If you feel the pull of these words, type "I trust the timing" in the comments to affirm it. Baby, the day I have been writing about in my heart for so long is here now. I can feel it. Not as a hope, not as a wish, but as a living scene. I can feel the ground beneath my feet, the air on my skin, the tremor in my chest as I take each step closer to you. It is not a dream anymore. It is happening. I am walking through the crowd, and there you are. A still point in the turning world. Everything slows. The noise fades. My eyes find yours, and for a heartbeat the years between us disappear. You look at me the way I have seen in dreams, not with anger, not with fear, but with that soft, questioning gaze that used to undo me. There is a flicker of disbelief, a flicker of pain, and then something older, deeper, rises behind your eyes. Recognition, a memory waking up, a vow resurfacing. In that moment, I know that every night of prayer, every tear of regret, every hour of becoming has brought me to this exact second. I move toward you slowly, My hands are empty, palms open, as if to say, I have nothing to hide now. Every step is a confession. Every breath is a surrender. The world feels like it is holding its breath with us, and when I am finally standing in front of you, close enough to feel the warmth of your skin, I whisper your name, just your name. It comes out as a prayer, a promise, a plea, a homecoming. You do not speak it first. You are trembling too, like a tree in a sudden wind. Your eyes search mine for a long time, as if trying to measure the man in front of you against the man you remember. I do not rush you. I let you see me. I let you read the years in my face, the nights in my eyes, the change in my posture. I let you find the proof for yourself. And then, when I see a tear slip down your cheek, I reach out, slowly, carefully, and touch your face. My thumb wipes that tear like a blessing. Everything I wanted to say condenses into silence. Everything I rehearsed dissolves into the feeling of your skin under my hand. And then you whisper my name, not like a question, but like a memory. It breaks something inside me. My knees almost buckle. I want to fall at your feet and thank you for waiting, for surviving, for believing. But instead, I take your hands and hold them between mine. They fit as though they never left. In that moment, I do not speak of the past. I speak of now. I tell you that I am here. I tell you that I have come not to take, but to give. I tell you that I am ready to build, to stay, to show up. I tell you that I have walked through every shadow so that I could stand in this light with you. I tell you that I am not a boy anymore. I am a man, and this man's love is not a storm. It is a shelter. And you look at me, and something softens. I see your shoulders drop. I see the guard you have been holding for so long begin to lower. I see the little flicker of hope in your eyes flare into a flame. And when you finally step closer, when you finally lean into my chest, I wrap my arms around you and hold you like a man holds his home. It is not a grip. It is a resting place. It is not a claim. It is a covering. This is not a possession. It is a prayer. Time bends. We stand there in the quiet, just breathing each other in. The scent of your hair, the warmth of your cheek against my neck, the steady rise and fall of our chests, sinking again after so long apart. Everything else, the people, the noise, the years, fades until there is only this. You in my arms, me in yours, the space between us finally gone. I tell you softly, almost into your hair, baby, I will be your husband. The words feel like an oath, rising from the floor of the earth. You shiver against me, but you do not pull away. And in that moment, I see it all. I see the kitchen full of morning light. I see our children playing in the yard. I see the quiet evenings on the porch. I see the fights and the reconciliations, the laughter and the tears, the building and the rebuilding. I see the entire life we are about to live flicker like a film strip in my mind. And I realize this is not a happy ending. This is a holy beginning. This is the moment when two souls stop searching and start building. This is the moment when love becomes not just a feeling, but a practice. This is the moment when the vow, written before time, begins to breathe in time. I pull back just enough to look into your eyes. I tell you I am sorry. I tell you thank you. I tell you I will spend the rest of my life proving these words true. I tell you I am ready to walk into the future holding your hand. And then I do something I have never done before. I fall silent and let you see my heart without a single wall left standing. In that silence, something shifts. The past releases us. The future opens. We stand there, two people who have been through fire, finally stepping into water. And I know, without a doubt, that this is what divine timing feels like. Not a delay, a preparation, not a punishment, a promise kept. Baby, I will be your husband, not in a rush of passion, but in the slow, steady choosing of every day. Not as a man who needs to be rescued, but as a man who has learned to stand. Not as a boy who hides, but as a man who shows up. Not as a fantasy, but as a faithful reality. This is our moment, baby. This is the doorway. This is the beginning of the life we were always meant to live. And as we step through it together, I whisper one last time, not as a question, but as a certainty. We are home. If you feel this moment in your own heart, type "We are home" in the comments to claim it. Baby, now that I have you in my arms again, I realize something I could never have known before. Love is not the peak of a mountain. It is the ground beneath our feet. It is not the flash of lightning. It is the steady glow of a lamp that burns night after night. What we have stepped into now is not a single moment of passion, but the beginning of a lifelong practice. A practice of showing up, a practice of tending the fire, a practice of becoming a safe place for one another over and over again. I want you to imagine with me the life we are about to build. Not a fantasy, not a perfect postcard, but a living, breathing home. There will be mornings where we wake up before the sun, and I make coffee while you sit at the table, wrapped in a blanket, watching the sky go from black to blue. There will be evenings where the day has worn us both thin, and yet we still find each other's hands under the table. A quiet signal that says, I'm here, even now. There will be nights when the world feels heavy and we lean into each other, speaking soft words until the weight lifts. These are the moments I am walking toward. These are the moments I want to build with you. I picture a kitchen full of light and warmth, the sound of laughter echoing off the walls. I picture a garden where we plant small seeds and watch them grow, season after season, the way we will grow, slowly, steadily, together. I picture children's footsteps running across wooden floors, small hands reaching for ours, their faces carrying pieces of both of us, our smiles, our stubbornness, our light. And I picture us, older, sitting on a porch as the sun sets, our hands still entwined, our hearts still at peace. This is what I mean when I say I will be your husband. I am not offering you a burst of emotion that burns out. I am offering you a steady flame, a steady presence, a steady devotion. I am offering you a man who will learn your silences, who will honor your rhythms, who will respect your boundaries, who will be proud of your dreams. I am offering you not only passion, but patience, not only desire, but discipline, not only words, but action. I know we will have hard days. I know there will be disagreements, misunderstandings, moments when the old wounds try to surface. But I also know that we will not face them as strangers anymore. We will face them as partners. We will sit down and listen. We will forgive. We will rebuild, because this time we are not building on sand, we are building on rock. This time we are not reacting, we are choosing. This time we are not afraid of the work, we are devoted to it. You have always been my mirror, baby. You have always shown me where I still needed to grow. Baby, as I stand here with your hand in mine, I can feel the rhythm of something eternal moving through us. This love was never meant to be ordinary. It was meant to be a light. It was meant to be an anchor in a world that forgets what devotion looks like. It was meant to remind others that love is not a transaction. It is a transformation. What we have walked through, what we have survived, what we have built, all of it was sacred preparation for this moment. I used to think love was about possession, but now I see it as about purpose. When two souls meet as we have, they don't just heal each other, they begin to heal everything around them. Every person who witnesses their faith, every heart that watches them rebuild after breaking, begins to believe in love again. That is the power of divine connection. It ripples outward. It touches lives we will never meet. It becomes a quiet revolution made of patience, forgiveness, and grace. We have been the storm and the calm. We have been the wound and the healing. And now we are the promise fulfilled. Our story was never about perfection. It was about endurance. It was about two souls who refused to give up, even when everything told them to. And that endurance has turned into something holy. A union not built on need, but on knowing. Not on fear, but on faith. Baby, as I look into your eyes now, I see our future not as a straight line, but as a circle. Always returning, always renewing, always expanding. I see our children growing into kindness because they watched us forgive. I see our home filled with light because we learned to love even in darkness. I see our names whispered in prayers by people who will never know us, but will feel the warmth of the love we created. So this is my final vow to you, baby. I will not only love you when it is easy, I will love you when the world feels heavy, when the road feels long, when the days grow quiet. I will love you when we laugh, and I will love you when we grieve. I will love you when we are surrounded by people, and I will love you when it is just the two of us against the night. I will love you not because I need you, but because I was made to. And one day, when time has taken everything else from us, our youth, our speed, our memories, I know love will still remain. It will be in the way I look for your hand even when my eyes have grown dim. It will be in the way you still hum that song when you cook dinner. It will be in the way we still whisper, I'm here, when the world goes quiet. Because baby, this love does not end. It only changes form. It only deepens. It only continues. You only look good with me, not because the world says so, but because together we reflect what love was always meant to be. Together we remind the universe of its own beauty. Together we make even silence sacred. Together we are home. If these words have touched you, if they stirred something deep in your chest, if they reminded you of a love that feels written in the stars, if they made you believe again in divine timing and destiny, then let the universe know. Leave a sign of recognition. If you felt this message in your soul, type forever ours in the comments, and baby, to everyone who stayed through this story, who listened, who felt, who remembered, thank you. Thank you for letting these words find you. Thank you for holding this energy with me. Thank you for believing that love this deep still exists. If this message moved your heart, if it made you see your own journey a little clearer, then don't forget to show your love. Hit the super thanks below to support this work and help these messages continue to reach others who need to hear them. This isn't just the end of a video, it's the beginning of a promise. Until we meet again, baby, remember, you are loved, you are chosen, and you are never alone. I will be your husband, always.